Brodes Media.
Wow. Do we have a discussion for you today? Before we hop into it, if you're new to the channel, make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button as well. I greatly appreciate all the support. We break down Philly sports every single damn day here. Look, you want to go boo Ben Simmons even though he's not going to actually be there? If you want to go to the Flyers games, Eagles games, or if you live in another city, if you want to check out your local squad, go to SeatGeek, buy yourself some tickets, and use the promo code Brodes for $20 off. You're basically eliminating the fees. It's a no-brainer. Make sure you do that ASAP. And with that being said, enjoy the show. Wow. What a time. What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. Just when you thought things wouldn't get crazier, it just gets crazier, and it will continue to get crazier. Hell, it might even take 4 years, and that's where we begin as Daryl Morey hopped on 97.5 The Fanatic today to talk to Mikey Miss, and he just dropped bombs left and right, and it's pretty damn obvious what he was doing. This was a statement publicly so Ben Simmons and Rich Paul could hear, and he came out swinging. This could take 4 years. We're not going to trade him just to trade him. Role players don't win you championships, and we are in a position now with Joel Embiid that the compensation has to be fair. Now, before you all claim that he stinks, he blows, he's horrendous anyway, so what are you holding on for? You're not going to acquire a Damian Lillard or a Bradley Beal or some superstar because Ben Simmons is not that good anyway. Look at his playoff resume, and there's plenty of others around the league that have witnessed this. Now, before you make that statement right after what I just said, here's reality of the situation. The way that the fans perceive Ben is completely different than the NBA world. It's a different lifestyle. It's a different style of viewing things. And plus, there's plenty of bad GMs out there. There's plenty of inexperienced general managers out there. There's people who are not as solid and structured as Daryl Morey. And I kind of find it hilarious that there are some out there that despise the way that Daryl Morey is handling this. They just want to get rid of him to move on and get any sort of compensation back in return. Yet I would put my mortgage down that those same individuals would, let's just hypothetically throw Elton Brand in there if Daryl Morey was not the one making the decisions and not here in Philadelphia. If Elton Brand was the one to move on from Ben for a bag of peanuts and a bag of nothing, you would be the same individual to claim that Elton Brand is an idiot, he's a moron, and you got to move him out of town in just a handful of years because he gave up Ben Simmons for absolutely nothing. I love that Daryl Morey is playing this leverage game, and it puts the ball in Rich Paul's court. And there are people out there that I trust insanely that have some knowledge on this information by talking to their sources. And this has been something I've touched on before and brought up in the past. Rich Paul is not loving exactly what Ben Simmons is doing, okay? Now we have the nonsense of he has a back injury. Well, there's back tightness here. Let's check things out with the medical. Oh, what's that? He's cleared to play? See, I remember months ago that there were people in my chat during Coffee with Brodes and in the comments section on YouTube and also on Twitter, which you can follow me. Here's a shameless plug, at Brodes81, if you like to have some fun over on social media. And they would say that, well, he could just fake an injury. No, you can't. You can't just fake it, especially because the league understands what's happening right now. Everybody's fully aware that this has been so damn toxic and so damn idiotic that no one's being fooled by a fake injury at this point. There's too many spotlights involved for that to just fall through the cracks. It would literally, you'd have to be naive to imagine that that would be the case. So attempt number one failed miserably for Ben Simmons, and Rich Paul is not happy on exactly how this is being played out. And now the pressure is on Rich Paul to work the phones around the league to find something that would satisfy Daryl Morey. And here's one thing that I will say, I'll push back a little bit on Morey. Let me be clear. I like that he's doing this approach. I know earlier during the offseason I said I want to look at these teammates and everybody involved in the Sixers organization and look at this new opportunity. And what I mean by that is this new season and say, forget the drama, forget the noise. You deserve better. But at the same time, I mean, and we're going to read through a lot of these quotes that were stated by Daryl Morey today on the radio. Here's one thing that really stood out to me. Hold on, I got to find it here. There's so many damn things involved. Here you go. People are focused on pretty much the trade value. People are focused on that. That doesn't matter. Here's why it doesn't matter. I can't determine what other teams would want to do in trades. I can just take at face value what they'll do. And we know that any trade that doesn't bring back a difference maker for Ben Simmons is a bad move for us to win a title. It doesn't matter whatever his trade value is. That's a nebulous concept that I don't even accept. But let's say it's true. If his trade value is higher, lower, medium, left, right, up, down, it doesn't matter. Unless a difference maker comes back for Ben Simmons, our chance to win a title will go down. And he goes on to talk about how everybody knows that in the organization. So people involved. See, I said you're doing your players a disservice. You're doing Joel Embiid a disservice. This was my mentality in the past, but they recognize this as well. And whether they're just talking out of their left side of their mouth or not, whether they're talking out of their ass or not, just to play the leverage game, it doesn't seem like Daryl Morey is bothered or Doc Rivers is bothered or Joel Embiid or Tobias Harris is too bothered by the way that Ben Simmons is going to work every day, and I'll use air quotes there, because they know what's best. The time frame of Joel Embiid is not very large, so let's make sure we get something back in return, because role players aren't the difference in championships. It's superstar, all-star, higher-level player type of talent. Now, here's what I was trying to get to with where I could push back a bit on Daryl Morey. He said we're not just trading him for role players, and I agree with that assessment wholeheartedly. What is that middle ground, though, right? Because there's an in-between role players and then superstars. Joel Embiid's the superstar. Furkan Korkmaz and Shake Milton is your role player. And I know they can't trade for this individual right now due to the contract that just happened, but let's use Malcolm Brogdon as an example. What's Malcolm Brogdon? What is some of these players that might be what is D'Angelo Russell? What is Colin Sexton? What are those style of players? They're somewhere in between, and I'm not saying that I'm fully doing that. It's pretty clear that they're not doing that, right? Because they could get that. They can easily acquire that at this point. There's a reason why they're not. So I guess I just answered my own question. I'm more talking out loud. I think I answered Daryl Morey's perspective on it. That's not good enough. We're not just throwing him to Cleveland for a Colin Sexton. That will not fulfill his needs. And, that could be wrong. I'm not saying that's necessarily right, but that's his view on it. So my only pushback out of everything I heard today was basically, you're right, Daryl. I'm not knocking you for not trading Ben Simmons for basically garbage and peanuts. But there's something in between that might be a better factor for this team. But I always go back to this. You have one swing at this. This is franchise changing. This could be the difference in winning a championship in 3 years, in a 3-year window, 4-year window, or this could be the difference in having a major setback, or just being a team that is somewhat stuck, which we've been in the past. And I'm not saying stuck as the 8th seed with Andre Iguodala. You'd be stuck in more of a 5th seed, stuck with just Joel Embiid and needing that extra layer for push. And the way to get that is Ben Simmons. You lose Ben Simmons and bring in just a guy. Well, how do you get that back? You got to hopefully get lucky with a 20, 21st, 22nd, 23rd pick in the draft and then land somebody who is Giannis. You know, they've done an excellent job at finding the Maxis, the Thybulls, the Shake Miltons, the Landry Shamits of the world. But they're just nice pieces. And Maxey one day could be better than just a nice piece. He could be a starter. But at the end of the day, it's a long-term thing. So it's a really tough spot to be in, but I love the way that Daryl Morey approaches. Basically, Ben, I know you're listening, and if I'm Ben Simmons, I'm shitting my pants right now because Daryl Morey made it pretty damn clear. The only thing that could go against Daryl Morey with the timeline is Joel Embiid, right? At some point, you can walk the walk, you can talk the talk, but eventually, the timeline here of Joel Embiid, there's not that much time. That might force you to have to make a decision quicker than you would like to, because what is Ben Simmons doing nothing for 4 years really do for this franchise compared to one of those in-between role players and superstar caliber players? Would that be more beneficial for you knowing the timeline of Joel Embiid's health and Joel Embiid's prime? Hell, I'm not knocking Joel Embiid right now, but I'm just saying here we are, second game of the NBA season, and we are witnessing a Joel Embiid is questionable with some knee soreness. Now, I anticipate him playing. It's the home opener. You have the Brooklyn Nets coming to town. It's not as if it's some scrub team with nobody that doesn't have any star players. I mean, he's going to want to be awake and alive for this moment and feel that rush and the adrenaline from the crowd. So I anticipate seeing him. I'm just saying, to kind of note and put it on display here that, yeah, it's still showing. It's not going away. Is he healthy? Is he banged up? Where is he? That's going to be a part of Joel Embiid and the experience of him for years to come, though, and we know that. I love, by the way, I know we're shifting gears, but not really at the same time. I loved everything that Jason Kelce had to say today, and I'm sure everybody and their mother heard the quote, but I will play it for you again right now just because it puts a smile on my face knowing that we have this type of character in this city, and it's just beautiful. And you can even hear a little bit in the beginning of him, I don't know, it kind of seems like he's getting choked up, and you could see it in his facial expressions. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I'm looking at his eyes, I'm looking at the way his tone is, his demeanor is. It's almost as if he's so damn passionate about this from just a professional athlete type of level, and it almost like flusters him, or it pisses him off, or makes him so damn upset that someone would actually approach their craft in this manner. But let's hear from Jason Kelce and what he said today about Ben Simmons.
You have to realize that this is a blip in time, and that over the course of...
I apologize. I'm an idiot. Let's play this again.
This is a blip in time, and that over the course of my career, I write the narrative. I'm the one who decides what this is. So, I think that's how you control everything. You really think about it like, if I just do this better, if I go out there and ball, if I go out there and play really good, nobody's going to have any choice but to love me or appreciate me as a player. So that's what I tell guys. You write your own narrative. What's going on. I don't want to crush any other player. What's going on with the 76ers, Ben Simmons, stuff like that. All that is because of a lack of accountability, a lack of owning up to mistakes, and a lack of correcting things. If all that got corrected, if you're fixing free throws, if you're getting better as a player, none of this is happening. So everybody can bitch and complain about how tough this city is to play in. Just play better, man. The city will love you. So.
Beautiful. I mean, just absolutely beautiful and perfectly said. He almost seems like a disappointed father figure, to be honest with you. Like, I cannot believe this is happening. I'm extremely upset with this, but you control what you can control, and the lack of accountability is a major factor here. And I know some might automatically point at the organization, which they do have fault in the way that this was handled from day one when he first got drafted. But once again, that's what Ben Simmons wants you to do. He wants you to look in other directions. At some point, we've all messed up in our lives, and we all did something that wasn't handled the right way, and then we took accountability for our actions and say, you know what? I messed up. I probably could have done a better job at handling business, but Ben Simmons is so stubborn and so stuck in his ways. He's digging himself so deep that I think he's fully unaware of, where this is really headed and the ugliness of it. He'll throw Doc Rivers under the bus. He'll throw the fan base under the bus. He'll throw the roster construction under the bus, and it's just foolish. So, here's some quotes that really stood out to me throughout the interview today. Doc Rivers defended Ben Simmons more than any human on earth, maybe ever, Morey said. And if someone wants to interpret one comment in a way, that one comment out of 10,000, I don't think that's very fair to the organization or Doc Rivers. No one's been more in Ben Simmons' corner than Doc Rivers, and Ben Simmons knows that. To me, it's all sort of pretext to do something larger by his agent or something. So, we understand that Rich Paul is in play here, but I do think the extreme of it and the style of how it's actually going down is a little bit too much in the immature department for Rich Paul's liking. But yeah, I mean, at this point, they're going to try and use all this context surrounding the drama to make it seem like, well, it's not really us. It's everything surrounding us that is toxic. And, this goes back to, well, what do you think you're going to get? Everybody sees this. Nobody's going to want him. He was voted around the league, and I actually took a screenshot of this just so you can, kind of see the difference from fan and the NBA. And this is from Harrison Sanford. A low-key point that Daryl Morey made during the radio interview. Ben Simmons has been voted an all-star by coaches around the league, not by fan vote. Gives you an idea of what the organization thinks Ben's true value is to them and the other teams, despite the noise. I think it's real easy for us to get in this mentality of no one's ever going to want him. He's a failure. He's a baby. He's a child. He's soft. He's absolutely obnoxious. And you're not wrong with those statements. But at the end of the day, and I'm not comparing this literally to what I'm going to say in just a moment, but my point is when you are skilled in professional sports, sometimes that takes you over the top compared to your personality, your character. There's been people who played football that beat their wives, and that pisses me off, and it's disgusting and disturbing. And once again, I'm not relating this scenario to that scenario whatsoever. Both are horrendous ways to go about life, but they're on two different planes here. My point is, there are players who play in the NFL, for example, that have done some disturbing, horrible, terrible, pathetic, embarrassing things in life. But why do they get another opportunity? Why do they get a second chance? Why do they get that phone call from the next general manager? Because there's a skill set involved that really intrigues you. Because you know that their ceiling can help out your franchise. And there are some general managers out there that aren't the smartest. And that also plays a role on top of the fact that there are good general managers out there that see that there is a ceiling here that can help their team and that can maybe put their team in a position where they haven't made the playoffs in a lot of years and they just got to a new city and maybe it's time to spice things up a bit and get a new guy that could sell some tickets, that can help you out, that can help you win some regular season games. I mean, there's a lot of factors here, but the moral of the story is around the league, it is viewed differently than the outside noise and the people on Twitter who think that no one ever in the history of the NBA is ever going to want their fingertips on Ben Simmons. You know who came into training camp out of shape and didn't feel like playing whatsoever? James Harden. You know who wanted James Harden? Every single team in the history of the NBA when that happened. Here we were sitting here, trade Ben, get rid of him, get rid of Ben, bring in James Harden. Now, why did we do that? He wanted nothing to do in Houston. He barely showed up. He gave zero effort. He was just there. His body was there. He wasn't physically there. And you can make the argument, I mean, yeah, his body was there, but was it actually there? But here we were in Philadelphia screaming, do the trade, do the trade. Now, I'm not telling you this is apples to apples. There is difference in the way things are being handled, but it just proves my point of the way that this league is viewed with skill. It is different than you think it is just from the fan perspective. We know that we're taking the best path. People are saying you should have handled it better. Fair comment. Which thing would you like us to handle better? What situation would you like us to done differently that would actually help us win the championship more than the path we're taking to this point? So basically, Daryl Morey is stating this. It's not the sexiest way to go about things, but we're going to open those doors up every day for Ben Simmons and say, welcome in, Ben. Come on in, come on down. We'll be happy to have you. Just compete. Just compete, and if you compete, we'll make another run. Now, Ben Simmons is never going to accept that because he'll never be able to look these fans in the eyes again. He'll never be able to be in an atmosphere at the Wells Fargo Center again, and he's even going to hear it not even being there. I don't know. Is he going to show up to that shoot-around that's tomorrow? Maybe. Possibly. But he ain't going to give you anything valid. It'll all be nonsense. It'll be toxic. But in terms of, the game time and getting down to the Wells Fargo Center, I'm talking the fans and all. I mean, he'd be long gone. But just wait until you hear it on TV. Just wait until if you're going to the game, if you're fortunate enough, it's going to be a riot. And I'm somewhat really looking forward to it because he absolutely 1,000% deserves it. And it's not even close. I mean, he really does deserve it. You're going to think I'm kidding. I'm not. This could be 4 years, Morey said. The conditions I'm pointing out to you don't change. Unless Ben Simmons is traded for a difference maker, we're in the prime of Joel Embiid's career. We have to get back to either Ben Simmons playing well for us, who helps us win the championship, or we have to get a difference maker for Ben Simmons. Or this could be 4 years from now, and we're still like, hey, we took the best shot we could. This could be 4 years. This is not day-to-day. Let me just start that right over. This could be 4 years. This is not day-to-day. Every day we're going to expect Ben Simmons to be back here, or we're trading him for a difference maker. There's no other outcome that doesn't materially hurt our chance to win the championship in Joel Embiid's prime. We would want him to play and be back starting tomorrow. But if he chooses to take some other path, that's his choice. As much as I can't stand Ben Simmons, as much as I was screaming, this guy's a clown and he's foolish and he does not shoot a basketball and that will hinder your half-court offense tremendously, there is something to be said about 2 years now of this Ben Simmons experience. You were 1 game away from the Eastern Conference Finals. Without Ben Simmons playing and sitting on the bench, you might be a second-round team. You might be a 4th, 5th, 6th seed type of squad. And I said this on Coffee with Brodes, and I'll reiterate it. People ask me, well, what do you think, Brodes? Where do you see them falling in the seed? It really depends, too, on what else is happening around the Eastern Conference. You could have the same record in 2019 and in 2020. 1 year be a 4th seed, the next year be a 6th seed. So it matters what's happening around you, right? Miami Heat, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, the Brooklyn Nets and the Bucks you think of as 1-2 style of teams. What are the Celtics? What are the Heat? And I've already established that you're going to win a lot of regular season games just because of Tobias Harris and Joel Embiid alone. So you'll cash in on some victories for sure. There'll be ugly ones, but there's ugly ones when you're a finished product as well. When you're a championship caliber team, there's ugly ones also. And for those ugly ones, there might be some big ones on the road against the Lakers. Maybe you squeeze one out. But my point is, even though I can't stand the guy, there is truth to with him is probably, it is better than just nothing, and it's better than role players. I guess the real question is it better than something in between? And I think that is a legitimate question to ask. If you get something in between as the starter, and then maybe a bench player, right, like a Colin Sexton plus. But remember this, everybody knew how much James Harden wanted out of Houston. Go look at how many, and I know it's different because they got compensation and draft picks, but go look at how many draft picks and pick swaps that they got in return. They got a large package. They got a big-time package for that. And that wasn't it, but I'm just saying, just to lay it out completely. The Houston Rockets package for James Harden, in case you forgot fully what it was. 4 first-round picks, 4 pick swaps. But it was a 4-team trade, wasn't it? So there was a little bit more involved. Karis LeVert was there. Hold on. Oh, we got the actual news drop from that day. Something's about to play. Oh, there you go. All right, the Rockets have sent James Harden to the Nets in a 4-team trade that involved the Pacers and the Cavs. The Nets and Rockets announced the trade Thursday morning. Brooklyn dealt Houston a package that includes Karis LeVert and 3 first-round picks. There was Jared Allen involved. Prince was involved, Dante Exum. Of course, these kind of get to some of the other ones. Houston also receives unprotected first-round picks from Brooklyn in 2022, 24, 26. Pick swaps. They got a hefty amount. Now, if they're talking about cashing in on Joel Embiid's prime, yeah, draft picks are not the compensation you're looking for. I'm just putting it in perspective once again on everyone knew he wanted out of there. And everyone's like, well, what are you going to get? What type of package will you receive if that team and everybody else knows that he wants zero to do with you? Well, you still got a lot. It's not as if you got pennies. You just have to do it in a different way based off of the different scenario. All right, before we continue, NFL fans hungry for a big win this week? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, has you covered. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game, and if they do, you win $200 in free bets. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, it's that simple. DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also get skin in the game with same-game parlays. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code Brodes. Bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game and win $200 in free bets. If they win, you win with promo code Brodes. Brodes this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino, see DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, buckle in, says Daryl Morey. Buckle in. And I just love the tone and the way that he went about it. This is a high-leverage executive, like a high-level executive, playing around with leverage and doing what high-level executives really do. This is what you're going up against, Ben. This is what you're going up against, Rich Paul. It's nasty out there. And then you also wonder, how does this impact other players who are tied to Rich Paul? And we know a lot of these teams have players that are well-known and are on the upper echelon that are tied to Rich Paul. So you never want to really brutally destroy a relationship with one of the powerhouse clients. But, this is getting to the level of, this might reshape things in terms of the CBA, where players around the league are actually getting upset with Ben because, this is really this is toxic with the 4 years left on the deal, and the owners are seeing this play out, and they're wondering, okay, how will this change the language and the way things are written down the road when we bring in a big-time player, we sign him to this deal? We need to make sure this cannot happen and play out this way. So now the Players Association and the owners and the league, there's going to be some dialogue involved to make sure that this doesn't happen. This is one of those moments that changes the trajectory of things, and maybe for the better. I mean, we've been discussing for years now as fans of the league that the players have too much power. They run too much of the asylum, but it's also brutal when the owners have too much say as well throughout sports. We've seen that also where it can get ugly because those bastards are so damn stubborn too. So you basically have to find that mix and find that connection, find that relationship that keeps it even keel. So, you guys can properly engage every single time something new has to be done, every single time paperwork and documents need to be signed to get everybody out there on the court or on the field or on the ice or whatever the case may be, depending on the sport. So, I wonder also with players around the league, how is he going to be viewed? Once again, not the same situation, but D'Lo, when that whole drama came out about his phone and he was saying some things and it got sent around and he costed his teammate his girl, there's some trust issues involved after that. Ben Simmons, how are players around the league going to look at him? Similar to Jason Kelce? Dude, what are you doing? Or is it just come out and we're professionals? Because that's the way the Sixers are saying they're about it. Come in, Ben. Come on. Let's go. Joel knows that that's best for the team, even though he's saying his comments, I don't care about that, man. I'm not here to babysit. There's also a professional angle here where it's like, let's go play. But I also wonder, imagine being on the floor with him, where he's actually, running your point guard maybe with, let's say, the second unit or something just for a kick in the balls, a kick in the teeth. He does show up, which will never happen, by the way. This is not real. This is an insane hypothetical that will never happen. But let's say it does, and he's running point with the second unit. How do you honestly stand there in the corner and go, hey, Ben, I'm here, Ben? Do instincts take over just because you're out there on the court and you've been playing this game for so damn long, you just kind of allow your instincts to take over? Or is it, I can't stand this guy type of thing? And how about Ben himself, right? Ben doesn't like a lot of controversy, I guess maybe is the word I'm looking for. Imagine being in his shoes, and I don't want to ever be that, and I never will put myself in that position, but let's say you are. Let's say that did happen. The first time, the second time, the third time you constantly show up. Okay, it's cute. It makes storylines. It makes headlines. You're proving your point. What happens after the 16th, 17th, 18th time? What happens 1 month, 2 months, 3 months in where you're on your own, man? It's all against you. You walk into that building every day to show your face, to look everybody in the eyes. Well, you probably don't even look at them in the eyes because you're a coward. But you sit there, your body's there, and everyone knows that you're a fool. At some point, the adrenaline runs out, the story runs out, and you're just constantly doing it. Don't you feel foolish? Don't you feel embarrassed? Don't you feel sad and depleted and defeated when it's 1 on 50, essentially, with all the coaches, the assistant coaches, the medical staff, everybody that's involved at the Camden facility every day? Don't you just feel like a crumb, an absolute scum? Maybe the answer is no, but I would think normal human reactions come into play. I guess none of this, though, at the same time is normal human reactions, or else we would not be in this predicament. You'd say, I apologize, I made a mistake, I need to be good, I need to be better. I need to be better. It's as simple as that. And we've done this exercise a lot. But if you just close your eyes, unless you're driving, listening to the audio podcast, shameless plug here, you can go to Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star rating and a review. That would be lovely. Thank you so much. You can find this version of Sports Talk with Brodes on Spotify, Google Podcast, Google Play Store, I believe it is, the Google Play, Apple Podcasts, anywhere on podcasting platforms, just in case you did not know. So unless you're driving and listening, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just honestly think about the fact that we're talking about a professional athlete that's just unwilling to say, I need to work on my game, right? I mean, it's almost absolutely stunning that this is what it's all about. I have to work on things. Don't say we didn't give you time. We gave you plenty of time. We're giving Maxey time. We gave Joel Embiid time. We give everybody time. We give you time. We understand. Your time's up, though. You wanted 15 years to work on a jumper. We wanted 4. And I don't think 4 is out of touch, Ben. I think you're out of touch. So, just crazy. I would ask the question as Sixers fan, would you rather eliminate what people perceive to be a distraction? I don't. Or would you rather have worst playoff odds, worst chance to win a title? I'm focusing on winning a title. I'll go through mud, muck, over barbed wire. We all will. Doc Rivers, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris. We will go through whatever it takes, whatever process, whatever pain, whatever hill we have to climb, whatever thing we have to deal with that helps the 76ers win a title, we're going to do it. It's annoying to you, but I'm telling you, it's not annoying to us. Never does it get me annoyed. It's a uniting factor right now. And then I made that pretty clear as well that, sometimes when you go through this type of hostile environment, the ones that do stand together, the one that do go through the fight and love one another and say, let's do this, let's prove this moron wrong, there's a level of togetherness that really does bring it all, as one. And I'm fascinated to see this team kind of respond in that way. And with that being said, Orbit Energy and Power, this episode is brought to you by them. With over 20 years of industry experience, Orbit Energy and Power is home to your solar experts in residential and commercial projects. Orbit provides solar, of course, but they also provide water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, electrical upgrades, new roofs, heating and cooling, and so much more. Make sure you check out their information at Orbit Energy or call 800-836-3987 for more information. There is links down below in the description. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode, and I will see you next time.